So, by the way, finally, Billy Wagner, who was not a first ballot Hall of Famer, he's a last ballot Hall of Famer. He did get in. TC, how about your guy, Billy Wagner, finally getting in? I actually feel relief for Wagner. I know he's been frustrated by this. What do you think, TC, of Billy Wagner officially a Hall of Famer?
Well, there's no doubt in my mind right now he's in tears. You know, he's deserved this. He wanted it. You know, he's dealt with a lot of issues. He and I have talked many times about it. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I'm so proud of him, and everybody's proud of him. He's the most down-to-earth human being around, and I'm really happy for Billy.
TC, no Beltran. That's it. So it's going to be Ichiro, CC, and Wagner as the three that will get in for this class of 2025. Your initial thoughts on Beltran getting snubbed yet again?
Well, I think both Anthony and Laura brought it up. You know, this Astros thing has gotten out of control now. You know, the Hall of Fame are filled with guys who knew what pitches were coming at certain times. So, you know, I'm a little tired of hearing and him being held accountable to be the only guy who was a player at the time. And like Laura said, he wasn't even a starting player. It's not like he benefited from what was going on. I think he's being overly penalized. You know, he lost a managerial job because of this. He's paid his price. He's a Hall of Fame player. He needs to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I'm with you, TC. Like, come on, what are we doing here? And we talked about this before with Beltran 100%. Before we got the results. If you're a Hall of Fame player, you're a Hall of Fame player. I think Beltran is that. What he did, I mean, this is not, you know, McGuire, Bonds, Clemens, PED stuff. Your thoughts on Beltran and not getting in again?
It's a great point by Terry. The man already was publicly mentioned as the ringleader of this thing. Whether that's actually true or not, you know, we don't know that. But he's also lost a managerial job because of it. So he's been punished enough. I mean, in my mind, I've been voting for him since he got on the ballot. I think the career speaks for itself in terms of where he ranks as a player. He should be in there. I mean, I can only hope that we can say next year, how close is he now? He must have moved forward.
70%. He finished around 70%.
Okay, so that's higher. I think he was 64-ish last year.
Okay, 5%. Well, obviously, you get 75% of the vote. You feel more encouraged with that?
I do think it'll happen eventually, and I agree. It's absurd. A.J. Hinch has a job. Alex Cora has a job. When Jose Altuve is up, you know, after his career's ended, are we going to be like, oh, the Astros sign stealing scandal? I don't think so, necessarily. So, come on, guys. It's enough. Carlos Beltran has paid his dues. We'll be here next year, and hopefully he'll get in.
Wagner is in on the final year of the ballot. What do you think, getting Wagner finally in the Hall?
I mean, it's great. Look, Sal, the thing about relief pitchers, we talked about this, there's not that many of them in there. But we have to recognize, and this was a debate with DHs as well, like it's a real job in Major League Baseball. And if people are going to have those jobs in Major League Baseball, then the guys who are the best at those jobs have to get into the Hall of Fame. Billy Wagner is one of the great relief pitchers of any time period, certainly the closer era. And the dominance that Laura talked about before is his calling card to Cooperstown, and it's about time he got there. And look, this is a guy who started out 10.5% of the vote on the ballot and then slipped a little bit on his second year down to 10.2. And for him to get the momentum to get there is just a great thing. And I just feel like it's, you know, it's overdue recognition for a guy who deserves it at a position that maybe isn't respected as much as it should be. But you always talk about teams want their closer. You got to have a closer. You can't win without a closer. Oh my gosh, we don't have a closer. What are we going to do? Well, Billy Wagner was one of the best ever.
Okay, here's my issue with the voters. Not you two, but here's my issue with the voters. This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Wagner was at what, 82.5% this year? So he went from being off of it for all the years he was on, not getting that 75%, to in his final year jumping up to 82.5%. How can you possibly explain that?
That's actually interesting because I was wondering the same thing because I was looking at the tracker, and it looked like by the time before we started airing, every single new voter voted for Billy Wagner. And I think that speaks to the fact that the younger generation of voters really value relief pitchers because we grew up in an era where bullpens were really, really important, more so than maybe in past years. We see the value of relievers. We saw the value in Billy Wagner, and we voted him in.